Welcome back to the Bluechip Breakdown, Vols fans. I'm your host, Bull. Happy Friday to everybody. In today's video, we'll be covering 3 different topics, all pertaining to the business side of college athletics. And it's important for us as Tennessee fans because we're in a big court case versus the NCAA, where they're trying to get Nico Iamaleava to sit out several games in 2024. And if you've been on this channel, then you know that we fully anticipate that he's going to have a Heisman Trophy type of a year. And we're also anticipating that Tennessee could be a national championship caliber team with Nico. So we need to make sure that the climate of the entire country is leaning more towards Tennessee's favor, not the NCAA's favor. So the first topic is going to be about EA Sports College Football 2025. We have some good news coming out about that video game. And then we're also going to be talking about Mel Kiper's top 10 quarterback list. And what's my top 10 quarterback list for this draft? We'll also be talking about our football coaches' contracts. We know that we just hired 2 new ones, but what about the coaches that have been here? When are their contracts set to be up, and who do we need to try to retain moving forward? But before we get into the video, please do us a huge favor, like and subscribe to the channel. Click that notification bell so that you will be notified whenever a new video drops or we go live. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about EA Sports College Football 2025. All right, so for those of y'all wondering what I'm talking about, EA Sports College Football 25 is a college football video game, just like the name suggested. Has not been released since 2013. That game was called NCAA Football 14. And the reason that it's taken about a decade for the game to come back out is because the NCAA would not allow college student athletes to profit off of their name, image, and likeness. Obviously, they can today. So it's been very highly anticipated for this game to come back out after 10 long years. This has definitely been a, gaming fans' favorite, especially if you are a sports gamer. You really wanted to play this game, okay? We've been waiting for a very long time, and we are anticipating that it will be coming out this summer. So over the past couple of days, we got some more news coming out surrounding this video game that college football players can start to either opt in or opt out in allowing EA Sports to use their name, image, and likeness in this video game. If they opt in, they get $600 and a copy of the game. I did a little bit of research on this. Okay, I've been on a couple of different message boards just to see what people had to say about it. And a lot of people don't think that it's enough money. Some people think that it is enough money. They just want the game to come out. But I've seen several people speculating on how much it's going to be costing EA Sports to send out about 11,000 copies of this game, which is what they are anticipating the number will be for the players that will opt in for it. And I don't think that they're going to be sending out copies of this game. I think that they're going to already have someone on their staff that can create some sort of a voucher code, something like that, for these student athletes to download a copy of the game. And I don't feel like that's going to cost them anything extra outside of the salary that they're already paying, employees that are on their staff. So it sounds like EA Sports is planning on paying about $6.6 million in NIL contracts to football players. And how does that compare to what the NFL players are getting paid off of EA Sports Madden, which is the NFL version of this video game? Well, they're getting anywhere from $17,000 to $28,000 is what I've been hearing. Now, that number's not set in stone, but that would ultimately mean that EA Sports has allocated $2.8 to about $4.7 million to pay NFL players for their name, image, and likeness, and $6.6 million to the college football game. Now, there's a couple things to keep in mind here. Number one, obviously, in the NFL, it's only about 1,700 players versus in college, we're talking about somewhere around 11,000. And there will be some players that take a look at the difference in the NFL to college numbers and say, hey, I'm not going to be getting paid enough, and they're going to end up opting out. So for those players, their name, image, and likeness cannot be used in any way, shape, form, or fashion in this video game. They also won't be getting paid anything. And EA Sports also came out and said that you can't even create a player that resembles the name, image, and likeness of the opted out players. So I think that what they'll do, just to try to make sure that, we can't create a player that's very similar, is you won't be able to use a combination of their name, of their jersey number, and of the position that they play. So I think that that's going to be the best way that EA Sports can try to stop it. They didn't come out and say officially, but that's about all that I could think of, because you can literally edit, a player's height, everything, like what they're wearing, their jersey numbers. So I would just probably anticipate that that's about what they would be able to block from that perspective. But at some point, someone's going to find a way to get around that, and then they will create some rosters that pretty much have the exact player that opted out of being a part of this football game. And they're going to probably sell that, and it's going to get very, very popular. Once that happens, it's going to be a big lawsuit on EA Sports' hands. So My question is, how long can this game sustain at this point? And how much should they be paying these players? Should it be more of a tier-based system to keep the big players in the game, the big teams in the game, as realistic as possible? I think that they're probably going to have to do that at some point, but I don't see a whole lot of that happening early on because most of the guys that are going to be in the game this season, they grew up playing the old school NCAA, 2014 football game, and just the prestige of being a part of this game, and being able to, like let your kids play once they get older, or like your grandkids, things like that, just to be able to live on forever inside of this video game. I think it's going to be a really big deal to the vast majority of football players out there, but there's always going to be some that's going to push this issue. And I think that if they take this thing to court, they've got a very strong leg to stand on, because if I'm not mistaken, after some checks were sent out for the previous video games in name, image, and likeness compensations, it was tier-based. So if you say, hey, these guys should probably get paid on a tier-based level, you might have a strong leg to stand on. Now, the other thing that might kind of hold up in EA Sports' favor is that Madden players don't get paid off of a tier factor. And that's something that Patrick Mahomes said, hey, we should get paid, based off of the caliber of player that we are, based off of how much people use us on this game. But anyway, I don't want to go too deep into those weeds. I'm saying all this just to say this is a really big deal, okay? Because it's showing that, hey, NIL is a very real thing, and these players need to get paid. And it's going to make Tennessee's case in court a lot stronger. But let's go ahead and move on to Mel Kiper's top 10 quarterback list. All right, so we're going to scroll through this thing pretty quickly here. At number 1, Mel Kiper has Caleb Williams. There's no surprise there. Number 2, Jaden Daniels. Number 3, Drake May. Number 4, J.J. McCarthy. That's a shocker. Number 5, Michael Penix Jr. Number 6, Bo Nix. Number 7, Spencer Rattler. Number 8, Michael Pratt from Tulane. Number 9, we've got Jordan Travis. And then at number 10, we've got our guy in Joe Milton. All right, so my top 10 list is at number 1, Caleb Williams. Number 2, Drake May. Number 3, Jaden Daniels. Number 4, Spencer Rattler. Number 5, Michael Penix Jr. Number 6, Jordan Travis. Number 7, Bo Nix. And then at number 8, I've got Joe Milton. Number 9, J.J. McCarthy. And at number 10, we've got Michael Pratt. All right, so I think Mel Kiper has Joe Milton too low on his list, but it's great that he made the top 10, because the anticipation this season in the draft is 6 quarterbacks could be taken in the first round. And if Joe Milton is in the top 10 for quarterbacks, then that means that more than likely he's going to get drafted. And we would have quarterbacks getting drafted in back-to-back drafts for the first time since, like the early 2000s, maybe like around 2008, 2009, 2010, somewhere in that time frame. But that's really big, because we all know that the blue chip players want to come to a program that can develop them into NFL talent, especially at the quarterback position. And really, if you get in a good quarterback, okay, especially early on, then you're going to be able to get a lot more blue chip players around that quarterback. That's just how it typically goes. So I think that that's a really big deal. And I am looking forward to Joe Milton going out and having a good combine showing next week. And hopefully he will get drafted at some point. Again, I'm still thinking it's going to be 4th or 5th type round. Some people are projecting him to be a 6th round draft pick, but I think that he goes earlier than that just because of his skill set. All right, and the last topic for today is going to be our football coaches' current contracts. And I got this information from Brent Hubbs over there at VolQuest. If you're not subscribed to the General's Quarters, you most definitely need to. They've got a ton of great information on all of our Vol teams, everything behind the scenes. And they're not paying me to say this. I'm just telling y'all, if you are a big time Vol fan and you want to stay up to date, that's probably the best place to do it at. But let's go ahead and kick it off with the offense. Okay, we've got Coach Halsley, who's the offensive coordinator. His contract is not up until 2026. We should be good right there. Same thing for Coach Abe. And then Coach Ellerby, the exact same situation. Now, he's a guy that I'm going to say wait and see on. He is very close with Coach Heupel, but for me, if the offensive line does not look good this season, if we don't have some young guys that can step up and be some contributors as at least a depth piece this season, I think it's going to be time for us to try to go find somebody. Sam Pittman will probably have an opening, and I think that we might need to go try to target him if Coach E does not perform well in this season. Now, on to a big one, okay? And Coach Pope, his contract is up in 2025. Now, he's a coach that UGA came after really hard, and he turned them down. Now, we made a video kind of talking about why he would probably never be going to UGA, But that's not going to stop other programs from trying to come in and take away Coach Kelsey Pope from us. And for those of y'all that don't know, he's our wide receivers coach. He's a very good on the field coach. Okay, he does a good job of teaching the fundamentals of how to play that position, but he's also a great recruiter, which is why his name is going to be brought up probably every single season for a new coaching position. And I don't know what's going to happen if someone tries to offer him like a coordinator job. He may end up taking it, but that's probably a little bit further on down the road. We have him for this season. I would say that what we should try to do is give him a contract extension to make sure that we can get him for 2 more years, even though his current contract isn't up. I don't know if that's possible, but if it was me, knowing that other coaching staffs are coming after Coach Pope and knowing that we need him for this offense to be able to go, I would do everything that I could to make sure that he's very, very comfortable. And the last coach on offense is Coach Sims. That's our new running backs coach. We know that he's good. He just got a contract. On to defense, we've got Coach Banks as the defensive coordinator. His contract expires January the 31st, 2025. Now, I think that for Coach Banks, this is going to kind of be maybe like a wait and see year, okay? He hasn't done terrible. I like a lot of what he's done since he's been up in Knoxville, but there are a couple of areas that I would like to see get improved. He doesn't always adjust very well. We could look at the Florida game and, a couple of other games that's like, okay, you got to do something different. You got to find some ways to stop it. Now, how much of that was, especially this past season, our linebacking core just was not that great last season, okay? They did not play very well. So this season, he should have everything that he needs from top to bottom. We've got depth. We've got guys who can play, okay? I know for sure that everyone on this roster on defense, about 3 deep, I would say, at every single position can play. So if the defense continues to kind of have, 1 to 2 lulls a season, then it may be worth it to kind of let him, go all the way through his contract and see if we can upgrade there. But overall, I do like Coach Banks, and I think he's going to have a big season coming up in 24. And next, we got Coach Garner. That's our defensive line coach. We all know he's one of the best in Auburn, which is his alma mater. Came after him very heavily. His contract is up January the 31st of 2025. But very happy to hear that he's going to be staying at Tennessee in Knoxville. He said several times he wants to retire in Knoxville, and we're hoping that he does. But I'm also hoping that it's not too soon. If it does end up being soon, though, we've got Coach Chop, who is, he's another defensive line coach. He's not an on-the-field coach, but you hear nothing but great things about him. But I would just say this, maybe we can kind of throw something out there at Coach Garner to get him to stay, maybe extend him for just a little bit longer. And maybe we can, maybe get another year or so out of him. I think that would be huge for this team moving forward. His position group is probably the deepest on this entire team. And I don't think that that's by coincidence. I think that is him being a heck of a football coach, not just on the field, but also recruiting wise. He does a great job of identifying talent. So he's going to be one that would be tough to lose, but I do think that Tennessee's going to do everything in their power to keep him around for as long as possible. And next, we got Coach Eckler. His contract is up January the 31st of 2025. I believe that he's the outside linebackers coach, and he is the special teams coach. Now, I'll tell you this about Coach Eckler. Our special teams have been phenomenal since he's been on campus. We might have the best special teams in the entire country. A lot of people was talking about Iowa, but our special teams outperform theirs. And I just love what he does. Okay, he brings a whole lot of passion to this staff. I think that he does a good job in recruiting as well. Why not go on ahead and try to extend him if you can? I would say pretty much everybody would need an extension. All right, so the next coach is Willie Martinez, and it says right here that his contract has expired. But Brent Hubbs and everyone at VolQuest is saying that his contract has already been resolved, and he will be back at least for next season. So, I think that that's pretty solid news. He's another one that I would say on the wait and see list. If his secondary does not perform well this season, then it's definitely going to be time for him to go. Now, on to the last coach, and that's Coach William Inge. His contract obviously is going to be new because he's our new linebackers coach. And if you look at this entire staff from top to bottom, I love what we have. Again, we've got several coaches that are, being pursued by other programs, which lets you know that we've got some good ones. And we've got all the talent in the world this season. I think that they're going to look really good. And we'll probably end up losing somebody to a coordinator, job or something like that. I would expect that someone will probably get an offer for a higher job, but that's a good thing. That means that Coach Heupel is doing what he is supposed to do. That means that this team is doing what they're supposed to do. So that's going to be it for this video. Let me know y'all's thoughts down in the comments section. And as always, thank y'all for staying all the way to the end. Please make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share it with your friends, family, and other volunteer fans. And we'll see y'all on the next one. Thanks. Peace.